Welcome to your pre-lab briefing for CSP 204. Today, we're gearing up for Practical 3, diving into the wild world of stem and root modifications. Get ready because you're about to realize that half the vegetables you eat are actually living a double life. We're going to prime those observational skills right now, so you can step into the laboratory with Dr. Feiyun and absolutely crush it. Let's jump right in.
So as you can see, our focus today is Laboratory 3, the stem and root modifications. Now, you might be wondering, why do stems and roots go rogue and change their shapes in the first place? Well, it really all comes down to survival. You see, a lot of perennial herbaceous plants just don't have the tough, woody trunks needed to weather harsh seasons. To survive and reproduce year after year, they have to get a little creative. Some swell up to store massive amounts of food, like the Irish potato. Others build literal armor, like the tightly wrapped, fleshy, protective leaves of an onion. And some, like ginger, stretch way out to propagate entirely new plants. And hey, keep in mind that a single modified structure can actually pull double duty, handling more than one of these crucial survival tricks at the exact same time.
Okay, so here's one of the biggest tricks these plants pull. Rhizomes, tubers, corms, and bulbs all grow completely hidden underground, right? But they are absolutely not roots. Nope, they're actually modified stems. Take a close look at ginger, for example. It's a rhizome, which is just a horizontal stem with distinct, visible nodes. And what about those familiar little divots we call eyes on an Irish potato? Yep, those are actually nodes on a swollen stem. Then we've got the corm, represented by the cocoyam, and the bulb, represented by the onion. Now, at a quick glance, those last two can look awfully similar, which brings us to our next point.
The bulb and the corm are pretty much the ultimate lookalikes. Well, until you cut them open, that is. Inside an onion bulb, you'll find concentric, fleshy scale leaves hoarding food securely around a central terminal bud. But slice right into a cocoyam corm, and you'll see a solid, undivided mass of continuous stem tissue. That thin, papery covering on the outside of the corm, that's strictly a jacket for protection. It doesn't store any food at all. So, your test in the lab is actually beautifully simple. If it's layered, it's a bulb. If it's solid, it's a corm. Easy, right? All right, let's untangle stolons, runners, and rhizomes. All three of these spread horizontally to clone themselves and pop up new plants, but they take completely different paths. A stolon, like you'd see on a strawberry plant, is a slender stem that arches above the soil surface and then dips down to take root at its nodes. A runner, like Bermuda grass, shoots out directly from a base leaf axil, also above ground. Rhizomes, however, do all of their spreading completely in the dark, underground, sending shoots up and roots down from hidden nodes. The line between a stolon and a runner can be incredibly subtle, so definitely make sure to actively debate that specific distinction with your instructor once you're in the lab. So, we know stems can act like roots, but roots can play the food storage game too. But here, origin is absolutely everything. Let's look at the carrot. It's a modified taproot. That means a single primary root becomes swollen with stored food born directly from the radical, just like a standard taproot. The sweet potato, on the other hand, well, it relies on adventitious roots. These are roots that sprout directly from the stem or the vine of the plant before swelling up with all that food. The absolute key takeaway to hold on to here is this: taproot storage equals radical, while adventitious root storage equals stem. And you know, we see that exact same adventitious origin in maize, but it's on a totally different mission. Maize pushes out prop roots from its lower stem nodes strictly for heavy-duty anchorage, just to support its tall stalk. Unlike the sweet potato we just talked about, the maize plant's fibrous root system doesn't store any food at all. It's a brilliant reminder that the exact same biological origin, being an adventitious root, can be completely hacked for entirely different evolutionary goals, depending on what the crop actually needs to survive. Okay, before you hit the lab benches, let's rapid-fire 5 anatomical features you'll absolutely need to spot. First up, the terminal bud. That's the active growing tip of a stem or shoot. Second, the culm. This is the hollow, jointed main stem you see on grasses like sugarcane or maize. Third, a sucker. This is a rogue shoot rising directly from the base or the underground stem of a parent plant. Fourth is a caudex. Think of this as a thick, woody stem base acting as a literal drought survival bunker. And finally, a decumbent stem. This one lies lazy and flat on the ground, with only its very tip reaching actively upward for the sky. So, to wrap it all up, stems can act like roots, roots can sprout from stems, and nature will twist, swell, and adapt absolutely any structure it needs to keep a plant alive.
We've got 4 key reflection questions here, covering everything from distinguishing tubers to identifying adventitious origins. Now, I'm not going to answer them for you. Take a screenshot, think deeply about the anatomy we just covered, and bring your absolute best hypotheses to the bench. It really leaves you wondering, though, doesn't it? If a plant can so easily blur the lines between a root and a stem just to stay alive, what other botanical illusions are hiding right out there in our own backyards? Good luck in Practical 3. You've got this.